We are back on your Feel Good Breakfast Show with Gavin Raja. We move to symbolism to practice, and that's exactly the conversation we'll get into. How do leaders use clothes to send clear messages, and how can South African designers help craft those messages? And we're talking about the G20 that takes place later on this month between the 22nd of November and the 23rd of November. Now, of course, we have to dress the part as well, but dress appropriately is what we're getting into. So, Gavin, speaking of, I do want to know if there are any sort of unspoken diplomatic rules that people need to get into, and do they still get it wrong?
Yeah, I think a lot of them still do get it wrong. I think, you know, there are three things which I think are kind of paramount. I think understanding the context, avoiding distraction, and communicating their dress code with clarity. So also the other thing is quite often they're very oblivious to cultural kind of semiotics. So for instance, if they're arriving at Thailand at the moment, one would expect them to dress very demurely either in white or black because the country's in a state of mourning because of the loss of the Queen Mother. So it's for them to also understand the kind of context and the setting they are.
Absolutely.
And also what they're trying to communicate, because they're creating a visual language and we've got to move into us just being curious about them, but rather respecting them. So it's up to them to set that kind of tone and pace.
I love the fact that you said respect, because I think that is a big thing. People need to realize if you're not from South Africa, you're a guest in the space, and therefore learn the rules of the land, the lay of the land, and sort of abide by those as well.
Absolutely.
So when it comes to South Africa, our leaders, and when it comes to our designers as well, I also want to know about the story our designers could help tell through the fabric choices, the colors that they create as well. Is there a story that they can really put together?
I think collaboratively between the participants and the creative industries, they can tell a story. And I think that reflects a sense of inclusion and progress.
Right, which is the theme.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, you know, some of these leaders working with emerging designers, looking at traditional cloth, for instance, not really kind of things that have been absorbed in our culture, but really things which are handmade, artisanal. This can be very powerful because it tells a story of empowerment. It speaks of sustainability, and also it's not couched in vanity, but it starts becoming more about values and what they're trying to kind of project. And I think this adds to the respect, but also their authenticity as a leader.
Sure.
So this collaboration is very important, and I'd like to see more of it, other than just, you know, using young designers or the design industry just to kind of create costume, but rather create a statement, an impactful statement about the country and the progress and the future.
I love the fact that you said value over vanity. I mean, that in and of itself just resonated so deeply. And speaking about value, when it comes to power dressing as women in particular, I think a lot of us get excited, but we also, again, have to read the room and think about the young women coming out, the established leaders as well that are women who want authority, but without sort of losing their identity. How do they navigate that space?
I'm a firm believer that women's femininity should not be a compromise.
Oh, I love that you said that.
And just because they're women doesn't mean they have to subscribe to a language of wearing pants,
shoulder-padded jackets.
Very tailored jackets, those kind of things. I think modern women and the new generation are rewriting that language and rewriting this kind of space for themselves, and saying that we can use other signifiers. And just because I'm wearing a very soft, floaty dress to work doesn't mean that it's not as powerful as me wearing a suit. I think that language has been very couched and written by men. And so I'm glad to see there's a very big change. And if you look at, you know, Michelle Obama at the moment and what she's doing and how she's writing this language of style and making it her own, I think, and doesn't compromise her strength, her power, her presence. I mean, we have amazing other women in the country, businesswomen who kind of own their own, and they do it by not compromising their femininity. Look at Basetsana Komala, Magda Fitzitska from Signia, Irene Shanley, those kind of people. They do it with strength and power, and they own it.
We had Bussy on last week, and I mean, just the way she was sitting, I think you dressed her.
I did.
And I was like, that's Gavin Raja right there. She looked incredible. And also recently, like you're saying, Michelle Obama released a book about her looks as the First Lady.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show you that fashion really does have that impact. But you did mention a bit earlier all around a visual language that we can use and how that speaks to a visual identity. Yeah. Now, when it does come to this G20 summit, what sort of message do you think it should be put out there when it comes to our visual language and visual message?
I think South Africa at the moment is facing a huge amount of criticism. There's a huge amount of division, diverse opinions about what we are, what we're doing. And we also, recovering and trying to fix many things from the past. And as I think what we should be doing is putting out a very positive message which speaks about our future and the boldness and the vision of hope that we have collaboratively for our country. And I think in doing that, it's about putting forward a very strong message for other people to look at us and say, well, there's more than just hope here. There is a strong vision for the future. We're leading the continent. And we are the gateway to the rest of the continent, but we're reading as role models. And I think design is very important. And I think it's exceptionally important for the creative economies to be taken seriously, because if you look at the contribution to the GDP, it's exceptionally significant. So instead of making it again about vanity, let's make it about respect and a showcase of values and what we intend or hope for the future.
Beautiful. Gavin Raja, thank you so much for joining us here today. Your insights are invaluable. They're incredible. And you got it here first on your Feel Good Breakfast show. So thank you for joining us. Please come back soon. And next time you dress that Kumalo, you can dress this Kumalo as well. I'll wait with bated breath, okay? But of course, the G20 summit happens really soon, the 22nd and 23rd of November. And bear in mind everything that Gavin has said today as you watch the entire thing take place.